Hi, everyone. I have just this short reading to share with you. It comes from the English philosopher Simon Critchley's book, The Book of Dead Philosophers. This is a book that I have, at the time of this recording, only recently discovered. But I think that I will be referring to it often. It contains short biographies, summaries of the ideas of, and accounts of the deaths of a number of philosophers. Um, some 190 of them. It's not necessarily the kind of book you would just sit and read. It's more the kind of book you would browse, right, as interest takes you. As we encounter different philosophers in this class, I will actually be trying to share the stories, the entries from Critchley's book with you. This will be sort of out of order because I discovered this book late during one iteration of the class. So this is actually the first of these videos that I'm recording. There will be other later videos that will come earlier in the class that you will see. So this will be a bit strange, me introducing the book as though we've never seen it before, but here we are. I would like to briefly read the back summary of the book, and then I will read the entry on the English or the British philosopher, because he was actually Welsh, not English, Bertrand Russell. So, Critchley's book, The Book of Dead Philosophers, is a collection of brief lives and deaths of nearly 200, actually it's 190, of the world's greatest thinkers. Noted philosopher Simon Critchley creates a register of mortality, that is tragic, amusing, absurd, and exemplary. From the self-mocking haikus of Zen masters on their deathbeds to the last words of Christian saints and modern-day sages, this irresistible book contains much to inspire both amusement and reflection. Informed by Critchley's acute insight, scholarly intelligence, and sprightly wit, each entry tells its own tale, but collected together they add up to a profound and moving investigation of meaning and the possibility of happiness for us all. If you are interested in philosophy, I suggest you get your hands on a copy of this book. So here is the entry on the British philosopher Bertrand Russell. I will not be reading the entire entry, just the first part of it. Bertrand Russell, 1872 to 1970. So he lived to be 98 years old. Not bad. The first hardback book that I ever remember buying, Critchley said, was the first edition of Russell's Why I Am Not a Christian from 1957. Incidentally, I have read and reviewed Russell's Why I Am Not a Christian. It's on my Goodreads page. I will include a link in this video, and if you are interested in my thoughts on Russell's book, you can read what I had to say and let me know. I would be interested in a conversation with you. So here's my review, and I will share a link with it in the info box under this video. Okay, so the first hardback book that Simon Critchley ever bought was a copy of Bertrand Russell's Why I Am Not a Christian from 1957. He says, on the rather tattered blue cover, so I guess it was an older edition, Russell writes, in the words that echo Epicurus and Lucretius. Epicurus and Lucretius were ancient philosophers. Epicurus was an ancient Greek philosopher, lived around the time of Aristotle. Lucretius was a Roman philosopher who lived sometime later. Okay, but they both shared the view that everything in the universe, including human beings, is made of atoms. Okay, so this is long before modern science, but they had this hypothesis that everything in the universe was made of atoms, and that there is no soul, right? There's only atoms. Okay, this is an ancient idea, believe it or not, that was held by Epicurus and Lucretius, and Bertrand Russell also shared a similar view closer to our time. Bertrand Russell said, I believe that when I die, I shall rot, and nothing of my ego will survive. I am not young, and I love life, but I should scorn to shiver with terror at the thought of annihilation. Happiness is nonetheless true happiness because it must come to an end, nor do thought and love lose their value because they are not everlasting. Any conception of the immortality of the soul is therefore both iniquitous, because it is untrue, and destructive of the possibility of happiness, which requires that we accept our finitude. Right? We could otherwise we will waste time trying to have something we cannot have, right? As Gilgamesh learned in the Epic of Gilgamesh. As such, Russell thought that all the great religions of the world were both fallacious, that is, dishonest, and morally harmful. The world we inhabit is not shaped by some divine plan, but is a mixture of muddle and accident. What the world needs, then, is not a religious dogma, but an attitude of scientific inquiry that may enable us to make a little sense of the muddle and accident. Right? So there's no divine plan, there's no God overseeing the universe, there's only muddle and accident. And so what we need is better understanding of the universe that will help us make sense of the muddle and the accident. Russell died after suffering from acute bronchitis in the company of his fourth wife, Edith. He insisted that there should be no funeral service and the place of his cremation should not be made public. It was also stipulated that there should be no music. Russell's ashes were scattered over the Welsh hills, and his granddaughter Lucy wrote to Russell's somewhat resentful second wife, Dora, "If there are ghosts to lay, let them be laid, along with their childhoods, among the magnificent mountains." Thank you very much.